Hello YouTube. If your subscription feed is anything like mine, then you've probably heard a fair bit about the Elgato Prompter. And like me, you might be thinking, yeah, sounds good, I could go for one of those. There are a couple of things holding me back though. First is the price. It's nearly 300 quid, which is a lot cheaper than some professional options, but it's still a fair chunk of change. And then there's the fact that it's not shipping until March 2024, at least on the UK site. This got me thinking, I bet there's a way I could make something very similar on the cheap, and it turns out I could. So long as you have an Android phone, you can build this setup for about £50 and achieve very similar results. A quick caveat before we start. I'm not sure if this is possible with an iPhone. It might be with the new models that use USB-C, but that's not something that I've been able to test. We're also using a Windows PC for this. It'll probably work fine with a Mac, but I don't have one, so I can't tell you the exact steps to do for that. Basically, what we've got here is a typical cheap smartphone reflecting teleprompter kit, but instead of relying on a teleprompter app, we're using the smartphone as a PC monitor. This means it can display anything that your PC can display, whether that's a script, Twitch chat, a camera feed. Your options are basically limitless. It works using this handy little USB capture card, and if you've followed my channel for a while, you'll no doubt be familiar. It can be found for less than a tenner, and in combination with an OTG USB adapter, it works great with Android smartphones and tablets. To get up and running, you'll also need a teleprompter that's compatible with a smartphone or a tablet. I'm using this PronStore one, which goes for about 40 quid on Amazon. But you have a lot of options here. This one's designed specifically for smartphones, but there are plenty that work with tablets if you need a larger display. In terms of the wiring, you'll need to use a HDMI between your computer and the capture card, then a USB-C to USB-A adapter to go between the capture card and your Android device. Then you'll need to install an app that allows you to view a USB webcam feed. Again, there are plenty to choose from, and thankfully these apps are a lot better than they were when I first started tinkering with capture cards and Android phones. Currently, my weapon of choice is an app called USB Camera by Shenyao China. It's free, with ads baked in, or you can choose to buy the Pro version for a one-off fee of $4.99. I've tried a handful of apps, and this has been the easiest and most reliable for my needs, so I was happy to chuck them a $5 for the ad-free experience. In terms of the hardware setup, that's about it. When you plug the capture card into your phone or tablet, it should be recognised by the app, and your PC will either mirror your display or extend your desktop to use it as a secondary output, depending on your personal settings. The problem now is that your desktop monitor will be backwards in the teleprompter. It is a mirror after all. There's unfortunately no easy way to correct this directly in Windows, but don't worry, the USB Camera app has you covered. Tap the three dots menu at the top right, and in there you can use the video flip and video rotate options to make it display correctly. For most people, this is going to be a 180 rotation and a horizontal flip. Then you're all done. Drag whatever you want to display in the teleprompter onto your secondary display and get creating. If you just want a basic teleprompter, you can use a website like qprompter.com, or you can make it your OBS preview monitor, stick a Zoom meeting on there, whatever you like. I think it's a pretty great result, especially considering the low cost. There are some slight downsides. For example, reviewers have raved about the Elgato Prompter's compatibility with super wide lenses, and that's not the case with this cheap teleprompter. If you try and use a wider lens, then you might find that you can see the phone at the bottom. It almost works. I got rid of most of the vignetting in the corners, but yeah, you can see my screen. So that's no good. But considering it will save you over $200, I think that's a fine trade-off. Especially if you're like me and you already have the required equipment just lying around. Hope you found this useful. If you did, hit subscribe because I've got a lot more camera projects in the works. Until next time, toodles.